But I know we get to hit that pretty blue button.
Yeah.
And
we have the green
box of glory
and the blue light of...
Blue box of hope.
Blue box of hope. Okay.
Stick with it now. Come on. Hi. Are we officially here? I think we're officially here.
I know I'm here. I'm sitting in this chair, and I am right here.
I will let others decide if I'm actually here, but until then, hi.
Hi.
Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy, power exchange relationships. This is our weekly live stream where we record our audio podcast, available on all podcast apps. Hi. And I think I know what we're going to call this episode. I know what the topic is. I just don't know what we're going to call it. So, I'm going to say hi to folks.
Okay, you say hi to everybody.
Hi, Sharon. Hi, V. V, I responded to your tweet about that with an email address. You should, if you will email us, that will be easier for JB to look at and talk to you about. Hi, Eva. Hi, Missy. Hi, Mr. Spock. Hi, Becky. Hi, Sassy Vanessa. Hi, Sue. Hi, Rara. Sorry, I'm like, who have I already said hello to? Hi, Christina. Hi, Dark Fae Dragon Witch. If you would like me to shorten that somehow, I will. Just let me know. I didn't miss anybody, did I? Hope not. Hi, everybody. So...
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. So, for the stream, I'm having my first sip of actual coffee for the day. God, please don't suck. Please don't suck. Please don't suck. Please don't suck.
Well.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good, y'all. I didn't want to slurp into the mic. I was trying not to do that. Hi, Elle. Hi, Silent Wing. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Tayshu. Faye. Hey.
You know, I completely forgot today is Cinco de Mayo.
We never really celebrate anyway. The last place I'm going to is a Mexican restaurant on Cinco de Mayo because all the drunk white people drinking their margaritas.
Yeah. And we celebrated a day early. We had tacos.
2 days early.
Yeah.
We had tacos.
Oh, Monday.
Yeah. We celebrated Taco Tuesday on a Monday. Because,
wow.
Man.
All out of whack.
Christina, no, we have not. We're still going. We still have a lot of lube. So we haven't had the impetus to go search. When I've done a search and I've gotten lots of recommendations, most of them are lubes that I'm already aware of. Mm-hmm. They're not bad lubes. There was a reason I liked our former lube. And
Christina, I did a search all of my own, and I did find something that has some potential. I just need to pull the trigger and order some to test.
Yeah. I actually like the thick, creamy consistency that does not need a squeeze pump, cannot be just squirted out of it. Like, I actually like having a tub I have to dip my fingers into. Except there's no fingers dipping. It is other things dipping.
Yeah.
I know this episode will get demonetized, so I'm going to try not to get it demonetized in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Rara, I agree. Every day should be taco day.
I agree.
And you know, Tayshu, we alternate weeks, and this is our week where on Wednesday it's our do takeout night as a family to have a night off from cooking, and we're gonna have pizza bowls because a local pizza place gives us crustless pizza, and we're totally trying that. But we could have done tacos or taco salads or fajitas or something like that. We could have done that, and we never even thought to consider it as an option this week.
No.
Is it because we had tacos on Monday and we just don't do that twice in a week?
Possibly, and the fact that probably most of the restaurants are going to be crazy.
Oh, they're going to be so crazy.
So, yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, no.
No,
I'm not going there. So, true Tayshu Taco Tuesday on a Friday is dangerous. But Taco Tuesday on a Monday, that's festive. So, hi, Alyssa. Who am I saying? I just want to make sure I haven't missed anybody. Okay, we got a couple of minutes. Our shirts, we have split the places we like to get shirts for today. Yours says Trust and Pain and Pleasure, and that is from Kinky Cloth.
Yep.
And if you shop at Kinky Cloth and use code KinkyKayla, you get 25% off. The link to this should be in the description box because I put it there, but that doesn't mean it always shows up. And mine is an Ignixia design, lost in subspace. And it's got a lot of the different like molecule, chemical, bloody blahs for dopamine and serotonin and all kinds of fun stuff. And that is through Ignixia's Teespring shop. And she created a coupon code for y'all. It's LovingDS, you know, that handle I hate, for 15% off if you shop from her shop. And I have this linked in the description box as well. So.
And yes, Silent did say crustless pizza. It's a pizza bowl.
It's a pizza bowl. We're gonna try it. I am learning, as much as I like to tell myself, I am not influenced by commercials and advertising. I am definitely influenced by commercials and advertising because this pizza place has been advertising or spent like 2 weeks advertising on the radio station I listen to when I'm taking the kids to school, the iconic rock station, which is playing music from my teenage years, and it's like the new classic rock, and I'm really annoyed by that. I'm sorry, Collective Soul should not be in the classic rock section yet. I'm just not ready for it. But that was their big thing, was they were like, yeah, we have pizza. And they have pizza, of course they do, but they have these pizza bowls, which is basically their pizza without the crust. And I'm like, I'm here for this. I'm totally here for this. So truly the best actual Mexican food I've ever had was in Texas. I assume it was probably actual Tex-Mex. It was a dive. It was a scary place off the interstate. We were desperate for food. We found it. I think this was 20 years ago, so everything was cheaper 20 years ago to a certain extent. But I think we ate there for like $15 and we walked out stuffed, like full of tacos and other things that they fed us, and it was delicious. It was delicious. So, but I think if it's a pizza salad if you put it on lettuce. But I don't know. We're going to find out. Like, I'm curious, do they build it like a pizza just without the crust? Like, they put it in a container and you get sauce and toppings and cheese. Mm-hmm. Like, what do they do? I need to know. I really hope we're not disappointed.
I hope so, too. I'm really looking forward to this.
What I find funny, I was on their website because you can do online ordering and schedule when you want to pick it up, and I love that. And they say that one pizza bowl serves two, and I laughed because I was like, no, we're going to get two. We're going to get two. We might split it if we get two different ones, and then we get some, Yeah. But for the price, like a pizza bowl is like $8.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't even get a pizza for $8.
Feed me, Seymour.
Right. Okay, it is exactly high noon.
Okay.
So we're going to do our thing before you click some magic buttons.
I know.
I did not put a title on this week's live stream because I could not think of a concise way to say this, but I think I figured it out for the podcast, and I think it's going to translate. I'm kind of calling it Coming Out of Hibernation. It is kind of an ode to the fact that now that we're both vaccinated and the kids are getting closer to getting vaccinated, we feel like we're at the other end of the plague, but it's not really about that. That's just sort of the context and the example that we can pull from. It's really about going through a stressful time in your power exchange. We know that impacts your power exchange, and our experience of starting to come out of it and what that is doing for us and how we are handling it and how we are using topics we've already talked about in the past. So we've talked about stress, we've talked about teamwork, we've talked about goal setting, and we've got all of that and more, but all of that combined into what we're experiencing right now. Like, we're kind of coming out of hibernation from the plague, and then we got hit in the face with a bunch of other life stressors because stress is life is stress. It's just how that goes. But we have been feeling more optimistic, which has led to some changes we're trying to make, and we're doing it together. And I don't think we're going to offer a lot of advice, but we wanted to share our experience in hopes that it maybe helps others in some way. So I actually wrote a lot of that in the description box, but you could see I couldn't really make a 7-word title out of that would encapsulate what the heck we're talking about. But yes, this is another one of those weeks where it's like, I don't know if you'll get anything from this, but we're going to tell you what we're going through, that kind of stuff, in the context of our power exchange. So that is the topic, as wobbly as that is. Also, if you enjoy this video at any point, we love a thumbs up. If you want to come back for more of this, because we do this every week, plus shorter videos in between, please consider subscribing to the channel.
And when you subscribe, ring that notification bell so you get updates of new content.
Just do what Daddy says. It's easier. Yeah. Just found it's easier. And if you really like what we do, want to help us do more of it, want to get extra perks that you're not going to get elsewhere, like access to a Discord server, a live stream that's not like this, a podcast episode, all kinds of stuff, then you can join us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/KaylaLords, where the link is always in the description box. Okay. So, yes, I think you can hit the magic button now. So before we get into the topic, this is your weekly reminder that JB owns a weapons of ass destruction shop called The Kinkery. It's thekinkery.com. I'm actually in the process of adding new products and will be a shop elf this week doing new products.
Yeah.
We're adding colored stain called unicorn spit to some of our basic like red oak paddles, and I have the entire rainbow now.
Yes,
and
she
so
does.
I'm starting with single colors, but I have in my head hopes for a rainbow stained paddle.
Cool.
I don't know how long it'll take me to get there, but that is coming. So if you're like, I like colorful things, give us a hot minute. We're working on it. But if you're like, I like hitty things, thekinkery.com is the place for you. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, I did want to give a light content warning, not because I think we're going to get into anything too heavy, but we are going to like touch on subjects that can be hard for people. So I don't think we're getting into a lot of depth, but I figured I would let you know at the top of this, we are definitely mentioning health, doctor's visits, weight loss, eating plans, health concerns, exercise. If you're like, I just can't, then you feel free to skip this one. It's fine. We're talking about it in the context of things we've gone through and things we're trying to do to help ourselves and that we're kind of excited to be doing. I think we're also a little salty about it, but that's okay. I mean, I walk around kind of salty just in general.
When aren't you salty?
I know, right? Yeah. But I also get that sometimes that's a little much for people. So I'd rather tell you up front that will be sprinkled in throughout because that's like part of the context of what we're talking about. So there you go. If you want to opt out, it's cool. It's fine. No hard feelings. Really. So we do have as the backdrop for this week's episode, the plague outside. I do think, though, that that's just the current backdrop. I think we went through something very similar after your sister died. Yeah. I think we've gone through similar things after I've had family stuff go on. I mean, my mom and my aunt both had breast cancer scares within like 6 months of one another. Like that was a lot at the time, right? Yeah. So the difference is right now is one, I feel very cognizant of what we're going through, and I feel like I'm leaning into it to pay attention to it. I think that part of what makes our power exchange a good partnership for us is that this is kind of how we handle stress. So I also understand that some people might not relate to this simply because your power exchanges are either more casual or they're just not as connected, maybe because you have to live in different places or it's one of multiple partners you have or whatever. I get that. I hopefully there's something to be gleaned even if you're not married or living together or in a 24/7 or whatever the case might be. This is one of those where this is definitely our perspective and we recognize that. We know this won't apply to everybody. So this is a little, I feel like it's a little chaotic because it's not a linear, this happened, then this happened, then this happened, but I want to try and tell it that way. Yeah. So the first thing that happened was the plague hit. We did an episode on that when it happened because we could kind of suppose some of the things that might happen for people in ways that people would need to change, especially if they had their relationship change from being something where you just didn't live together but you saw each other whenever you could to essentially a long distance relationship. Yeah, so we did that. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, y'all. Everybody reacts to the plague differently, and that's to a certain extent. I think that's fine. When I say to a certain extent, I'm giving side eye to the people who acted like there was no plague. I'm not impressed, but everybody had their own reaction. Everybody had their own reality. We are very fortunate. We work from home. We worked from home before this, so what we did was we basically hibernated. And the way we hibernated...
You just went about business as usual.
I lost my... Well, yes, because I didn't want to leave the damn house. But no, I know what I did. I buried myself in work. How many things did I release professionally in 2020?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's what I do when I get stressed out. I buried myself in work. I also, weirdly, I knew a lot of people who were like, I have this time now. I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to start walking. I'm going to start blah, blah, blah. And I was like, actually, I'm just going to sit on the couch a little bit more. Like, I actually want to move less through this. And that was my response. And some people do. A lot of people did have that response.
Yeah.
And other people had the opposite. You kind of had that response too.
True.
And we mutually, because this is who we are outside of the plague, outside of stressful situations, we both ate our feelings.
Oh, yeah.
I can...
And not in a healthy way.
Not in a healthy way. I can see it. I can go back a year and a half, 2 years ago and look at a video. And I can look at a video now and I'm like, oh, I think I'm carrying the equivalent of a small child right now. All in my chin and my stomach. And I felt bad and I didn't feel bad. We, I think, mutually decided, without talking about it, that we were just gonna lubricate our feelings with things that tasted good because there was a plague outside.
Yeah.
And I knew in the middle of all of that I wasn't feeling good, that I didn't like how it made me feel, but I also just couldn't be bothered to care. There was too much going on, and you pick your damn battles, and I think that's just how things work in stressful situations anyway. You do what you can do, you pick your fucking battles, and you leave the rest to the side. I think, yeah. And anybody who's, whether you've gone back and watched or listened to old episodes, or you've been on this through the plague, we've talked about this. So what has happened recently is we're both fully vaccinated now. We are impatiently watching the news for the age limits to drop and or kids to hit their birthday so that they can go get vaccinated. And then I think I will breathe easier. Still take precautions, but be a little less stressed about it. But at the same time, the moment I got my first shot, and I think you were a little bit like this too, I won't say I felt hopeful. It's not like the skies opened up and I heard angels singing, but something eased up a bit.
I know for me the best way to describe it would be like, okay, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
And yeah, and I think I can go back and look at that feeling and recognize that's what it was. But at the time I was not conscious of that feeling. Here's how I knew something was different. Prior to moving to this area, when we moved in 2019, I'd been really good about getting everybody into the doctor. I made your appointments, I made my appointments, never skipped an annual. Like everybody went to the doctor like they were supposed to. Then we just moved to the area, and the stress of moving, and then our insurance changed, and then there was a plague. I put off doctor's appointments for everybody for 2+ years.
2+ years, easily, yeah.
And it's one of those things, and I don't know how many other people can relate, but the more I think about a thing I desperately need to do, and yet I continue to avoid that thing that I desperately need to do, the more stressed out and bad I feel about the thing I need to do, which then only makes me avoid the thing more. When I get into that headspace, you probably could have domed me. You probably could have been like, baby girl, go make those phone calls. Go do that research. Yeah. I might have done that. I might have pushed back. But you were also in that same headspace, which is why I guess one thing I can say is whatever side of the slash you're on, you can't always just depend on the other side to push you within the role to do something, because sometimes you're stuck in that place together and you're just gonna go through it together. But the moment I got that first shot, I spent 3 hours. I did the quick research, and it was quick research because I'd actually been researching, and I would find names, and then my anxiety would kick in of how do I know this is the right one, and how come they don't have any reviews online that I can read, and what if this person's, and I would catastrophize a lot. But I got that very first shot. And weirdly, it's like my social anxiety lifted a little bit. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to talk to anybody. But I could make a phone call. For the first time in a long time, I just made a phone call. I didn't do a lot of rehearsal in my head. I didn't do a lot of, stress eating. I didn't do a lot of pacing. I didn't think about it and think about it and think about it to the point I overthought about it before I could I just did it.
Yeah.
And from that point, things have gotten stressful in different ways, but also
It snowballed.
It snowballed in good and
Both, yeah,
in ways. It snowballed in ways.
Yeah.
Because that was weirdly, I always thought our first entry back into out of this stressful period of life would be going out to eat at a restaurant. That was actually not our first entry. Our first entry was a doctor's appointment. I feel like we're doing this wrong. But I felt lighter somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember that feeling after other past stressful moments, but I know I must have had it. There's a point where you kind of think, this is just how it is now, this is how I feel, and then there's a catalyst, and there's a lightening of the load.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I lightened up quicker than you did.
Yes.
And have you had that moment where you've kind of gone, I don't know what's different, but I feel nominally better, and maybe this isn't so bad?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I've come over the crest.
You had me
so to
worried
speak.
Because I was like, oh, well, you're getting vaccinated, you should be in a better mood. Because like we said, in the context of this, the current stressor is the plague, but it can be any stressor. So you got your shot, your first shot. Okay, that should be better, and it wasn't. You were not. No, you weren't better.
Well,
and it's only until actually after we went to the restaurant the first time that then you were better.
Mm-hmm. It took something that actually was a bit jarring to me to break through that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because gosh, I can't think of the word now that everybody's been using for the fugue state that we've been in, languishing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's how I have felt. And it was actually after my doctor's visit that this kind of just...
Yeah, and it's funny. I feel like my load lightened out of some sense of hope, even though I would not have recognized that. And yours has lightened because you're feeling petty. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. A petty JB, as long as it's not directed at me, is a fun JB. Because you've got something to prove now. And that is your catalyst for some of this teamwork and goal stuff we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
So, I'm still not ready to be around people. I'm still struggling with some of that, but I'm getting better. But some of my own internal stuff is getting easier. Like, I have, over the past couple of weeks, not eaten my feelings as much as I normally do. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure I'll ever be cured of that, thanks. But I haven't felt the need to eat my feelings in the way that I was at the height of the plague. Whereas you have been... So part of what I've always appreciated about you as both just a person and a partner, but also as my dominant, is you are typically a person of action. Mm-hmm. Once you set on a decision or a course, we're going to do this thing.
Once I have a plan in place,
you move forward.
Right.
And the past year has been not that at all. No. And for some obvious reasons, we couldn't.
Right.
Everything was uncertain. Stress. Mm-hmm. Life was insane. We were staying in the house.
Well,
but it's nice to have that back, is what I'm saying.
And we've kind of touched on this. The big difference for me is that I have always been the person that has been used to going out and about, being among people, going out to do things, going here, going there. And when that was taken away from me, that crushed me. Mm-hmm. I am not a textbook extrovert.
Yeah.
I consider myself more of an ambivert. Mm-hmm. All right. I like going out to workshops, to different things, but then there comes a point where, okay, time for me to be home, time for my quiet place, and recharge. And it was very hard to have that taken away from me. And while I have enjoyed numerous symposiums and different things through Zoom, or online variations, to me, it's not the same.
Right. And I think that's, I think we can collectively go, yeah, we know. Because many of us have gone through our own version of that. And so I feel like that's the thing I'm noticing is the things that became normal, like you not taking action, like you waffling on your plans. I am used to you taking a while to formulate a plan. You're a great researcher. I like that about you. But typically you would do the research and you go, okay, here's the plan. Let's move forward. And
Right.
this messed with you in such a way that you were hesitant. And part of it was the necessity of life. There's certain things we had to be hesitant on. But sometimes it wasn't. It was just, I don't know. Maybe I need more research. And while it didn't negatively impact me, like I didn't think you were less dominant, it didn't harm our relationship. It made complete sense within the context of what we were dealing with.
Yeah.
And I was right there with you. Quite frankly, this baby girl was like, please take your time deciding that you want to do this new thing that we now do, where you made me walk 2 miles last night and I'm still kind of tired. But to see, it's one of those things where when you're living in it, it starts to feel normal. You might not notice that things are different until they go back to the way they were. And you going, yes, we have a plan. Yes, we're going to do this thing. I think I knew something had changed when, after a recent doctor's appointment, we'll probably get into that in a little bit. You were like, I think I'm going to take this supplement. And I'm like, okay. And what I expected was you to like come home and like watch some videos and read some articles. And you came home and went, I bought the supplement. And I was like, oh, that was fast. Now I still know you did your research and you, you did what you do. But there was a decisiveness to you that I had not realized I was missing as both partner and just submissive. Until it showed up. And now also I'm a little scared as a submissive because decisive daddy means, oh shit, I'm not going to get to wiggle out of things anymore.
Well, let me give a little backstory here. Probably in my early to mid 40s, I have had back problems pretty much all my life. I think first time I ever had an incident with my back, I was like 25, 26. But it was in my early 40s, early to mid 40s, that my back finally decided, you're going to notice I'm here. And my doctor did what she does, and she referred me to an orthopedic. Orthopedic gave me pain pills and muscle relaxers and sent me to see a surgeon.
And this was years ago.
Years ago. And basically their idea was I was going to be on pain pills and muscle relaxers until the time comes that I need surgery. Okay. And I was like, I don't think so. I don't like this. I don't like the way it makes me feel. I don't like the way it makes me, just be in general. And I looked for other options. I did do some physical therapy, which helped to a certain degree. Got a TENS unit, which helped. And much to my doctor's chagrin, I found out about chiropractors. And I know there are people who do not like chiropractors in any way, shape, or form. But other than once in a while having to take some ibuprofen, I have not been in enough pain that I say, to the point that I need pain pills or muscle relaxers. And it has been years. Getting an adjustment has been, when I need it, is an amazing thing. And it's not a constant thing. It's not, I go one time and then I have to go again and again and again. I go once or twice, get an adjustment, and I'm right as rain again. So, when I went to this new doctor, first thing Apparently, with the pandemic, insurance companies are asking that people fill out a mental health form. All right, you had to do it the second time. Yeah, the second time you went, you did have to do it, and I answered it honestly. And the doctor, as I'm about ready to leave, pulls me into the room and says, "Are you okay?" Well, as I can be. And he goes, "I'm going to write you a script for depression."
For medication.
Yeah.
For antidepressants.
Yeah.
And let us stop here. We do not have a problem with medication
Now,
for any of those things. Depression, anxiety, and if you need it, take it, please
exactly. There are people who do need it, and it helps them, and that is great. What threw me is the fact that without even knowing me, without even really talking to me.
Right. Without actually diagnosing you with anything.
Yeah. He was like, "Here's a script." And I was like, "No, I don't need that."
Right.
And that was the first catalyst that kind of gave me that step. And it just kind of went from there.
Yeah, at this point, I think there have been times in your, again, medical context, because this is what this is all centering around. There have been times where I think you had something not to prove to a doctor, but sort of to prove to yourself, to go, is this as bad as they say it is? Can I handle this in another way? Here's my preferred path. This time with this new doctor, which thankfully at the medical center we're going to, there are dozens of doctors to choose from, and we will switch if necessary. I think we're figuring out it's going to be necessary for you. I feel like you don't have anything to prove to yourself at this point. I think you have something to prove to this doctor. Sadly, this doctor who will likely not remember you the next time you come in. He barely remembered you 2 weeks later. But so your urge when something is going on medically is to try and find a more homeopathic, natural, path that if medication is required, medication's required. That's fine.
If it is, it is.
Right.
Yeah.
If surgery is required on something, it's okay, fine. If we've got access to it, we will take advantage of it.
Right.
And so, yeah, weirdly, your assertive self, which I've mostly been missing, but as a spoiled baby girl, I mean, not really, came back in response.
Gone wild.
I know. Came back in response to this doctor.
Yeah.
Like, you have something to fucking prove. Now, was I talking you up and was I bigging you up when you came home? Yes, I was. I was like, that's some bullshit. Let me show you some resources. Bullshit. So I was not helping because I am the little cartoon character at the back going, yeah, you can do it.
Right.
Not getting out there in front myself things. And so yeah, when you went back for a second appointment with no history other than a current blood test, he wanted you to be on a statin for your heart. He literally said the words, you are a heart attack waiting to happen. And that did freak you out.
Oh, big time.
And then I got angry. Now, I am not a doctor. I am not a medical professional. I do not rely on Dr. Google, but I have I've tried to educate myself on things that I can educate myself on. And based on what we were looking at, I was like, do you have things you need to work on? Yes. Could this be a concern? Well, sure. Are you a walking heart attack? That man needs to back the fuck up. I'm about to, as my 15-year-old would say, go throw hands. I don't know what that means, but I was going to do it. Okay.
Well, I did not see my numbers at that point.
Right.
And it wasn't until later that he gave me the paperwork. There is no denying certain numbers are not what they should be.
Right. We need to work on that for sure.
They are borderline high. I mean, they're not out of the ballpark. They are a little bit above what they should be. The high point of what they should be. And when he told me about this medication, not even the side effects, because the way this was presented to me, this medication will do these things.
Not even as possible.
Yeah. And I was like, oh no. No.
But here's the difference. Had this happened 6 months ago, I don't think you would have had this response. This is the coming out of a major stressor, in this case, the plague. And a few months ago, you would have handled, I really believe you would have handled that differently. Your headspace was different.
Right.
Something about it fired you up. Hey, if feeling petty and wanting to prove a point, get you fired up, I'm here for it. Because what it did was it lit a fire under us that hasn't existed in at least a year.
Right.
Maybe longer because there was other stuff going on prior to.
Well, I mean, the
COVID,
the one thing that had me a little niggled in the back was when the first time I went, when I saw my weight. I have put on, not a lot, but I have gained 20, 25 pounds.
Sure.
From
but you have
the prior year.
You have the inner workings. You will fart hard and you'll have dropped 5 pounds. I will look at a plate of pasta and gain 5 pounds. This is how we work here. So he never once mentioned options to get things under control without medication. Just medicate you. Yeah.
And I did some looking, and yes, the things that are wrong can be dealt with between changing my diet, which I know I need to change my diet, especially after the past year, the way I've been eating.
Yeah, you ate all your feelings.
I ate
all
of
your
feelings.
Feelings tasted like mocha.
And milkshakes, and
chocolate milkshakes.
Mm-hmm. So I did it to myself.
Sure.
And
I don't like how you kind of say that. Yes, that is a factual statement, but also the stress of life means that sometimes you take pleasure where you can find it, and that was a way that you coped. Was it the healthiest way? Probably not.
No.
Was it the worst thing you could have done? No. No, not at all.
Yeah.
So I think that yes, we recognize that is what happened. I mean, I was eating potatoes for the first time in years. I was eating bread again. I coped in my own way. But that was the catalyst. So I had to get a first shot and hadn't even been fully vaccinated yet and was feeling some hope. You had to get, I think it came at the right time though. I think pre-vaccine, in the middle of the pandemic, you would not have handled this the same way because you started that visit very nervous. You went into that doctor's visit very nervous and unsure because, we know chronic stress messes us up. We know we had not been active at all for a minimum of a year. We know that can mess you up. There's all these things. So, now it's okay, that's the stress part. That's the thing we went through. And we have gone through other types of stress before. And I think, even though I wasn't aware of it at the time, there's been a catalyst for each of us where we're coming out of it. Yeah. We just are aware of it this time. Now it's okay, what are we going to do? And that is where what I like beyond the fuckery and the kink, what I like best about the two of us, that finally felt like it was snapping back into place. And that was our ability to work together as a team and to set goals and then to work together. And we're only on early days, so we will definitely there will be blips. There will be moments it didn't work out. But we are working as a unit right now, whereas we have tried during the stressful times to maintain that unit. But y'all have heard us talk about the fact that our dynamic still exists because it's just always there, but it's a lot lighter. Our fuckery's been out the fucking window. My libido's down the fucking drain. Your libido kind of went with it. We were just on a low end there. Maintaining that this is the best of who we are as kinksters. First of all, if you managed it and you continue to manage it in stressful times, I am very happy for you, and I think that's wonderful. I also think that if, there's probably a majority of us that no, that's not what happens, and things start to fall apart. It's why I think we always go back to, no matter what kind of relationship you have, the idea of just genuinely liking that human being underneath the kink is important, because sometimes the kink will fail you, and what have you got left? And in our case, we genuinely enjoy each other's company. We can work together really well. We communicate really well. And if we might be pissed off that the kink is nowhere in sight.
Yeah,
but we can get through it.
Right.
As long as we're assuming it's temporary.
We've often said, early on in the beginning, our relationship, if for whatever reason kink were to be out of our life, we would still have a solid relationship because of what we have built together from the beginning.
Exactly. And so what's kind of interesting is that now we're coming out of the stressful time, and the kink is very, very slowly, and the sex and the fuckery is very slowly coming back, like drips and drabs. Like, this is not like there's no avalanche or flood or waterfall. This stuff is a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
But the working together part, I have been... maybe this is too strong a word, but I've almost been exhilarated by it. Like, I am annoyed that I have to go get hot and sweaty now because we're back to walking for the first time in just over a year.
Yeah.
And I'm not upset at the dietary changes we're making, but also it always just makes me want other foods more. But it's easier because, one, as a submissive, I'm like, I'm accountable to you now. You're going to ask uncomfortable questions, where 6 months ago, you would not have asked those uncomfortable questions. You'd have been like, can I have a bowl of that too? Okay.
Yeah.
And so there's a little
Oh, you want another Diet Coke? Yeah, here, have your fourth one for the day.
Here, it's fine. It's in a 40-ounce cup. It's fine. And so on one level, it's exciting because it's like, yes, this feels like us again. But then there's that baby girl side of me that's like, but I kind of liked getting my way, even though my way was not the healthy way.
Well, not the best way.
My way was my coping mechanisms, and that's, and so it's nice. So and again, like everything, it's happening in small ways. So part of what we're doing, so he got these results. My results were not at the level yours were. I had some blood work done, but mine were not great. Mine could have been better. And we are talking about, are there supplements we can safely take? We're looking into that. We know what dietary changes we need to make because we were there over a year ago. We just got to get back there. Then we realized that the last time we went on a walk was right before we bought this house we're living in, because we walked to this house.
It from the house we were renting.
And that was a very long walk. And that's when we realized that it had been just over a year, because we've lived in the house almost a year now.
Yeah.
So, we know what we need to do, and we're doing it. And the plan was there, because it's basically go back to what we were doing, maybe make some tweaks. I think we're taking more supplements than we took last time.
Yeah.
But it's the way the DS is coming out outside. Like, that's the big broad. That's the goal, and we're doing it as a team. And here we go. It's the way the power exchange is coming out in little ways. So here's one of them. We've talked about this before. When we walk anywhere, walk in a parking lot, walk to the car, walk, I am on, this is your right side, right? I'm on your right side.
Yeah.
That's the side I walk on. Now, when we are walking down the road to get some exercise, we are often walking in places where there are no sidewalks. So a couple things. One, if a car is coming at us, I get behind him. If I tried to stand in front of him, he would knock me to the ground and be like, get your ass back there. I walk behind him, and then it is my job to catch back up when I get, you don't slow down. I extend my stride. And this is such a weird thing, but I'm like, look at me being all submissive. I have to catch up to my daddy. And that happened the other day, and I was like, now my legs are burning, y'all. I think we're on an incline. He is not slowing down. He walks faster than I do. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to catch up to him. And for a minute I wasn't. But when I did, I realized it was this DSE thing where you just knew I was going to do that. You didn't look back. You didn't ask. You knew, because you knew I knew that that's my job. So that was this really cool thing, to find this moment of power exchange in what, to all outward appearances, is a very mundane thing, and also is not something we've actually talked about. Then, this is one we did have to talk about, because I was like, wait, I'm trying to follow the rules, and you're making me not follow the rules, and I'm confused. So I walk on the right side, right? Well, we make a turn onto a highway. But there was a sidewalk, by the way. And you are now on my right, and I'm on your left, and I'm like, but this is wrong. And you're like, on this road, it's not. You are staying on the inside. I will walk on the outside. He's like, because he said, then if something happens, I can push you out of the way. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I will grab your arm and you're coming with me. We will save one another. This is how this works. Okay. But it was that easy power exchange we'd had for so long. It wasn't I mean, and I think some of that easy power exchange comes with several factors. There's length of time you've been together. There's your comfort level with each other. There's just the way you interact with each other. And sometimes that comes with time, and sometimes it's just like how you naturally interact with one another. And we, partly because of what we do here on the internet, but we had spent so much time talking about very specific things that either were or were not happening in our power exchange that we either wanted to or did not want to be happening in our power exchange.
Yeah.
That there were times when the power exchange felt like work because we were having to actively work at it. And this was a moment we just slipped into it. And I have like a record scratch moment in my brain sometimes. When
it's kind of like riding a bicycle. You know, you never.
Think for you.
Well.
Because what happens to me is it's like, I don't want to minimize like the multiple personalities, but it's a little bit like there's a split in my brain. And there's one part of my brain that's like, I love this. I'm going to be the best submissive ever. Yay. And then there's a part of me going, wait, what? Wait, we're doing that now? Wait, but I want to do what I want to do. But I don't really want to do what I want to do. So like if we're portioning out the sides of my brain, it's like a small side of me that goes, what? And the bigger part of me is like, okay. And there is, I'm sure it happens to all kinksters of any part of the side of the slash, but one thing that happens to me a lot and I've noticed it more often, when I go a long time without doing something that I deem something that makes, part of my submission, and I have to restart it back up, I get very anxious about it. I'm like, can I handle this? Can I do this? Am I going to still like this? This seems hard. Do I have to do this? I don't want to do a hard thing. But, and there's a little bit of push and pull in my head.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, so far, the submissive side has won out. And if the submissive side of me could not win out, I know enough to know that means we have to have a conversation about how that's not going to work for me anymore for whatever reason. Now, I'm curious, slipping back into that, did you notice we slipped back into that? And do you get that feeling of hesitation now that we have started kind of reverting back to some of our old patterns and ways that are very power exchanging?
I don't know. I didn't have any, there was no hesitation. It just seemed very natural. All right. I mean, like, telling you, we are going to be walking after dinner at night. Sure. No ifs, ands, or buts. And, when I started doing my research to see if there were alternatives to try and manage this, manage things. And there are, I came to you and said, look, okay, I did this foundation work up to this point. I want you to look into these different supplements. Okay, see what you can find. I told you, I am going back on my diet, the way I ate.
Yeah, we don't, when we say, I think we need to clarify, when we say the word diet, we don't mean like, do this for 30 days and you never have to do it again. We mean it as in diet, as in this is how we eat on a daily basis for as long as we can. Not the temporary, like a Slim Fast diet or a cabbage soup diet. No. We're like, these are our dietary plans for the long haul. And we are low carb. I'm trying to kind of get back to keto. You just want to be low carb. Because we know that works for us. We know that works very well for us. Yeah. So. And
no, there wasn't any hesitation on my part. As a matter of fact, I was more shocked at how easily I went back into that.
Was it something you were aware of as it was happening, though?
Yes.
Like, could you feel it?
Yes.
Did it feel good?
Oh, hell yeah.
Here's what I like about this. So I recognize this, and again, yes, the plague is an overwhelming stress, but I know we went through it, and all the other stressors we've gone through in our relationship so far. There is that muddling through, just trying to get through day to day, where there isn't always room for any of that kind of stuff. And then something happens and you have room for it in your head again. And then it becomes like a snowball effect because your energy has changed over the past 4 or 5 days. And I'm having to adjust because I had gotten very used to you not asserting your authority. You not making demands, but it's all consensual. Like you going, this is what's going to happen. I had gotten very used to deferring to you, asking, but basically going my own way. And on a lot of levels, I like that. We've had that conversation before. But the interrelationship stuff, for a long time, it used to be where you would like, you're going to do this and I'm going to do that. And this is the order it's going to happen. And then it stopped. And now I'm like, oh, okay. And I can almost feel the gears are not just grinding in my head. They're literally shifting and readjusting because I want to be careful how I say this. It's not that I'm less independent, but there's a little bit of less independent thinking in the way that prior to like we go for evening walks now. We've only done it 2 days, so it's not a habit yet. Who knows how many blips we'll have there before we get that sorted. And I am definitely complaining through part of it. Happily, because I'm following after my daddy like the little submissive I want to be. So I'm not really complaining, but I'm complaining a little bit. And then we come home and it's like, there's an order to which things need to happen. And you are the one setting that pace again. You're like, okay, I'm going to hop in the shower and then I'm going to do this. And I'm like, okay, well, when you're done, then that means I can do this. And okay, what happens next? And you are kind of setting that agenda in a way that you have not in a long time. And then I notice other small things now that we are in this situation where you love to pinch my nipples. Holy fucking shit. And I'm now seeing the error of my ways of going braless so much. Because wearing a bra as I currently am, there's a little bit of padding there. And normally I'm braless because why the fuck would I wear a bra if I don't have to? And you're like, and you're back to it. Like this morning I came to get my collar put on and you're like, oh, headlights. And then you're like grabby hands. And I was like, oh my God, I'd forgotten that you like to do that. Like sometimes I am surprised at how quickly things become normal that were never normal before. And you not doing that became really normal really fast, apparently. And now I'm sort of going through the adjustment. Or you'll smack my ass as I walk by. Or you'll like, you have definitely, I was teasing before we started recording anything today. And podcast listeners will probably have heard this in the intro, where you were making a face at me, and I interpreted it as a pout. Look, y'all, in my defense, the lower lip of his face was pushed way the fuck out from everything else. That is a classic pout. I should know I have a PhD in pouting. But you not only corrected me that was a grimace, I was like, not a good one. You got to work on that. Go practice. But you were insistent, and up until recently, you would have maybe let that go, or we would have just giggled about it. And you were asserting your authority and your little d dominance over, and I could feel myself pushing back too hard. I'm like, oh my God, you're going to get yourself in fucking trouble. Be fucking careful. You're going to get in trouble. You did that the other day. I was not last night, we were walking. I just made a statement about how I thought this road was not very busy, and then here come all these fucking cars, and it's busy.
7 whole cars.
In a very short span, and no sidewalk. But next thing I hear is, oh, well, if you want to keep going that way, I guess you must want corner time. And I'm like, wait, I'm just playing. I'm just teasing. And it was clear you were not. And I was like, oh, fuck, we're back there again? And I know this has a lot more to do with the fact that certain stressors are lifting. Other stressors have arrived. Just so you know. Certain stressors are lifting and you are feeling more yourself again. And I am feeling more myself again. My previous self. We are always ourselves. But the self I was pre-plague. And we're getting back into that flow. And I do think that the fact that we are actively working on something together. Because The only time we've ever both been really good at maintaining weight or changing the way we eat and all that good stuff is when we've done it together. Because you told me from the beginning you would never go keto, and I never asked. But you did go low carb, and it worked. It worked really well for you.
It worked very well for me, yeah.
And then the plague hit. And I tried so hard towards the second half of the plague, or this past year of the plague is still with us. And I couldn't seem to make it stick on my own. And now here we are doing it together. And that's not a power exchange thing, but what is part of our power exchange is when we do things together, we do it very firmly rooted in our roles with each other.
Yes.
And that's not the who decides what or who leads this dietary change or weight loss or blah, blah. It's, the other time I knew that, one, you were back-ish, and two, you were serious about these new goals that we have, which are just continuations of old goals, let's be clear. You bought your supplement and you went, okay, your job from now on, I'm going to take it with dinner every night. Your job is to make sure it's ready.
Yeah.
And I was like, and again, part of me's like, I have a task. And part of me's like, fuck, I have a task. That means that's something, and my anxiety kicks in. It's like, that's a thing I could forget. And I did forget it on the first time. I didn't actually forget it. I just went, wait, we don't eat dinner in a normal way on this particular night. Yeah. And it just didn't. So in a way I forgot, but in a way I was like, I think he means Monday. He did not mean Monday. And then I felt bad. But my anxiety does kick in now in a way because I'm out of practice. And so I'm like, will I forget? Yes, by the way. How do I feel about having a new task? Will this new task overwhelm me? Do I want to do this new task? And there's a lot of things going on in my head. Literally in the 2 seconds after, you're like, hi, baby girl, your new task is to make sure this is ready. Yeah. But now it's it's another teeny tiny moment to be in that headspace. Like, to the best of my abilities, I try to at least get to a stopping point with work at night so that while you're cooking dinner, I can set the table. And we kind of go back and forth who's feeding the fur babies. But, like, I'm in the kitchen and we're together. And so the past couple nights it's been like, I'm going to put his little supplement right here. And do I have a swish in my walk when I do it? Yes, I do. And I think there is a bit of the excitement of feeling like we're doing things that we haven't been doing and that we've actively missed, and there's an excitement to it. And I think that if anybody else is out there kind of recognizing this pattern, maybe you're not there yet with this particular stressor, but in other stressors, I would, if you're not feeling excited about it, I think that's worthy of thinking about and talking about, because sometimes it's you're still not in the right headspace, but also it could be that you have grown and changed and these things aren't right for you anymore. Maybe you need to shift to other things, but I've really enjoyed feeling like we're getting back to who we were. The tasks are different. The expectations are are different because life constantly changes that way. Right. But it's similar enough that I'm like, I remember this feeling. I like this feeling. But I will say, I really do like working on a goal with you when we're both invested seemingly equally. Maybe there's a little bit, the investment is equal but different, like what we're trying to get out of it. And I am seeing... It's weird. I see it easier with our health than with our business. We have the same business goals and we are working on our business goals together, but it's not been as energizing.
No,
as it has been with, you're going to walk every night, you're going to get back to the way you need to eat and blah, blah, blah. And you're going to, and it's weird. We know that ideally our weight will change and our body will change, but actually our markers are the numbers for blood tests. Like, I'm considering at the 3-month mark when you have to go get your blood work done, if we can afford it, I might get my blood work done too. I think at like LabQuest it's like $100 or something, and just to check my markers at the 3-month mark, because I won't get mine checked by the doctor's lab for another year. But it's like it's hitting different with this particular goal than with like goals for the kinkery, and I don't know why that is.
Here's why it's a little more exciting. In the past year, when we moved to our new city. And then we started working on the plan from there to move forward with buying a home.
Mm-hmm.
Between that and what we do for work, pretty much encompassed everything. And over the past year of the pandemic, I think while I did not throw myself into work the way you did,
Mm-hmm.
that more than anything was my focus as well.
Mm-hmm.
Between the podcast, between videos, between, the kinkery and that. And it felt to me like our personal kind of dropped below our work.
Oh, for sure. I would agree with that.
And I think what hits me and I like about this is not work related, it's personal.
Mm-hmm. It's actually we haven't even talked about work on our walks yet.
No.
And I've been hesitant to bring it up. I'm like, this is a really nice,
And it's
pleasant
and it's
walk.
kind of
I
nice
don't
to
wanna
not talk. No.
work.
Yeah, no.
I think I did bring up today's topic because I was thinking about it because we'd had a moment where I've been like, oh my God, that was so DSy. I'm here for it. And I was like, okay, but no, we're not talking about, plans for products or plans for promotions. Like and I have had that moment because we do tend to do that. We do tend to slip into work mode when there's a little bit of downtime. And I had the thought of, I don't think I want to. I feel like that would ruin this. It wouldn't ruin anything, but it would be jarring in this moment where we're actually just breathing together and we're moving our bodies in a non-sexual way together.
And someone mentioned about how we can walk in the heat in the live chat. Like,
Later in the day.
It's not the optimum time of the year to start walking.
I did find that ironic. Like we could have been done this in February and it would have been very pleasant. We did not.
Beginning of May, we're already in the low 90s during the day.
I'm taking 2 showers a day now, y'all.
Yeah. We have been walking at dusk, and we are lucky enough to have what I have been calling the country lane, which is very much shaded.
Yeah, I mean it's hot. It's going to get worse by July. There might be a blip in this plant by the time the weather gets really hot. But
I told you if you and I will.
So here's this, and this I pushed back because I was so you very kindly went, if there's a day you're too sore, you're too this, you can't walk, you can skip out. And I went, don't do that. Don't give me that kind of permission and power because I know who I am. I'm a big baby when it comes to any physical movement. I'm an indoor cat, okay? I'm an indoor cat who likes the shade. I don't want to sleep in a sun patch. So I was like, actually, I want you to push me, and I will take responsibility for speaking up when I'm like, it's painful. There's something going on, but please don't give me that permission. Please stay in charge of this. You're also in charge. Because, again, our whole...
I know enough that, you used to do, like 5K runs and stuff, and you loved that. I also know that you now don't because you have problems with your knee.
Yes.
All right? So I know that is a concern.
Right.
Now, if you were to tell me, Daddy, I don't want to go to walking tonight because I just don't feel it. Oh, no, you would be going walking. If you were hobbling around the house because your knee was bothering you, no, you're staying home and sitting it out. I
know, but I also know me. I could be like, well, is that really a twinge of pain, or do I just not want to work out? I know who I am. But our the achieving the goal has gone all power exchangey just in. Okay, so the walking. This is a good thing because I'm an indecisive person on certain things, not a lot of things, but on certain things, and I get anxious about it, and you know this about me. So I don't plan which direction we're walking. You do, but what that means is sometimes the sadist takes over, and we're like walking for fucking ever. The first day of walking, I was like, okay, and it ended up being about 1.5 miles. We tracked it after the fact. I was like, okay, it's 1.5 miles. That was more than we've done in a year, but okay, that's not bad. And the second day was almost 2 miles, and I thought we were walking, and we were walking, and we were walking. And I was like, you like this, don't you? You like this. This is awful. You like this, don't you? And I know you didn't like it. You were tired too, but also I think you liked the fact that I was miserable. And so the masochist in me is like, hi, it's so nice to see you, my sadist. The baby girl in me is like, oh, I don't like this. But I legitimately enjoy that push and pull between the different sides of myself, especially my kink self, because it kind of reminds me I'm constantly actively making the choice. When there is that push and pull between, can I do this? I don't know. It makes me nervous because I haven't done this in so long. And then I still willingly do it. It's one, it's like accepting a challenge. And two, it's just a reminder that this is a choice I make. But then the inner dialogue between the masochist and the baby girl can be it's a little annoying. It's a little bit like the devil and the angel on your shoulder, but it's also kind of fun because it's like, it lets me have a moment to just sort of swim in that part of who I am that the outside world does not usually allow me to do. The mom life does not allow me to do that. The lady at the grocery store just trying to buy some fucking milk, like, I don't get to do that as that person. But on a walk in the middle of wherever, I'm like, I hate this, but also, I see what he did there. He took the challenging route because he could. And podcasters, you cannot see his face, but folks on YouTube can see the evil glint in his eye. And I just want to know where that evil glint has been. Like, I also want you to know I'm both glad to see the evil glint back and terrified. Which is, I think, my perspective as a masochist, that's the masochist life. I'm happy to see it, and also I'm scared. So we don't have, there's no solutions here. First of all, we're less than a week into any of this. I know, because I know how life goes, that we're on a high right now of feeling really good about the reconnection, feeling really good about having this common goal that should have been there all along, but it wasn't because it's a plague, and we're happy to be working towards this. We are not happy about the way things came about. We're certainly not excited or impressed with that particular doctor. Thanks. But we have a renewed sense of purpose together, and we are finding ourselves again in a way we could not at the height of that particular stressor. And I just, the example is the plague, but I'm positive. I'm truly positive. We went through something similar after your sister died, after my family stuff. We have some other potential stressors coming at us very quickly. It is much like facing down a Mack truck. Thanks. I'm trying not to think about it. And we might have to go through this again, that this excitement we're feeling now will have some twists and turns, and there will be moments, nothing is linear. Nothing is a straight line. It's all a messy swirl. And right now we're talking about it while it's new and shiny, and I would almost equate it sort of to a light sub-frenzy. Like, there's a frenzy feeling to look at us doing this thing together, and it is so nice. It's like, it's so nice to see you again, is kind of that feeling. And I don't know what'll happen after this, but I did want to talk about it to hopefully for those still in the depths of whatever their stressor is, plague related or not, that hopefully there is light at the end of that tunnel, and that I wanted an example of why we think teamwork and goals and all of that, and communication, of course, is so important to power exchange, that it's not just about the goal of and the teamwork of, we want to do this kink thing. Sometimes it's the goal of live life together, live life as is in this relationship, and make it a good one for everybody involved. And that it can be in the really mundane places, and just also as a reminder that sometimes you find your kink self in the most mundane places. Yeah. Like, yes, would I like to be bent over the bed and have you flog me until your arm is tired? Of course the fuck I would. But you know what I'll take? I'll take getting threatened with corner time because I was a little too mouthy while I counted cars out loud to prove that there were cars going down this road. And there's no sidewalk here, okay? And also I'm tired and hot.
Wah.
Exactly.
Wah. Fucking wah.
Exactly. Damn. Do y'all... I need to know, is anybody noticing the energy that he's given off for the first time in a while? Because it feels, it's refreshing. Because I don't feel like I have basked in whatever the fuck that just was in a while. So I know that this is not applicable to everybody.
Right.
And I know that, however, if you were starting to come out of the plague-induced stress a little bit, what brings you out or gives you hope will probably be vastly different. And I think that's okay too. We are not saying everybody needs to go out and start like working on their weight and going to a doctor and any of that stuff.
No.
We are also not saying everybody should be coming out of their plague-induced stress right now. We just happen to be because of these catalysts.
Right. And I just want to reiterate what Kayla said up front. If you need medication for a particular thing, please, by all means, take your medication. Please. I am not anti-medication. What I want to try and do is see if this can be managed with lifestyle change.
And if it can't, then that's what medication's for.
And if it can't, then I will take what needs to be done. But if it can be done another way, I want to try that first. And that's what I'm trying.
And frankly, I'm not used to a doctor that doesn't offer that first. It's not like, let's avoid the medications if we can. How about?
Yeah.
So.
Just to kind of show, I am, since the beginning of the week, 2 cups of coffee a day.
Y'all, he was at a certain point, there were 4 cups of coffee a day.
Yeah.
And also, when was the last time you had a mocha latte or a mocha, iced mocha?
Last Friday.
I'm very proud of you. Now, the question I have is, do you feel deprived from it, or do you feel okay with that choice?
I feel okay about it. Because, here again, what I did prior to this when we were on that eating program, I allowed myself, when we went out for our nightly coffee, to have one.
Yeah, we're not doing full deprivation around here. That's not sustainable for us.
But the fact that I had been for a while there, through 2020, I was doing 2, sometimes more a day.
Yeah.
Mochas,
That's what was so frustrating about your lack of conversation with the doctor, because it's like, with a 5-minute conversation, you could have been like, let me tell you how I've survived 2020 into 2021, and he probably would have been like, well, okay, I can see what you need to stop doing right away.
Yeah. So I mean, I am going to do my damnedest to bring about these lifestyle changes, and
mostly because you want to rub those new numbers in that doctor's face.
And
I want to be there when he does.
It may be a bit petty, but yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's okay to be driven a little bit by pettiness for a short amount of time.
But I just kind of want to show him that, let him know he doesn't really know who he's
dealing. Oh God, I love this. I can't call you sassy. Like, that's not the right word, but that's the word that came to mind. My sassy JB, yes. Like, fuck you and the horse you rode in on. I'm gonna show you something. I have not seen this part of you. Like, one, prior to the plague, there wasn't a lot going on that you needed to kind of have this. So it's been a long time since I've seen it. But also, it's like another indicator that for everything else coming at us very quickly right now, you are on the other side of some of this.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm going to be cheesy, but literally my heart swells. Like, I know how the Grinch felt when his heart grew 3 sizes that day, because it's like, it's almost like compersion. It's not, because we're not talking about another partner, but it's that same kind of feeling. Like, I am just overjoyed to see you feeling and being more of who you are in non-plague times. This moment in history has fucked with all of us, but I've had the front row
Kind-
seat
yeah,
to
yeah.
watch what it's done to you. And being the submissive that I am, I know that what I did also was ignored what it was doing to me. I'm sure it's done some stuff to me.
So,
But
yeah.
so yeah, I that makes, and see what's funny is to see you coming back into yourself makes me want to make sure we keep this going, because what I want to do is like try and capture this essence of who you are again, so you can't lose it again. Even though life being what it is, something stressful will happen at some point in the future, and we'll go through something like this again. That's just the way of things.
Yeah.
But that's also why I think it's worth celebrating and talking about and enjoying when you're coming on the upswing. You know, you've had the ebb, and now we've got the flow kind of thing going. And
So, you know, we will see what we shall see. When I refused the medication and told him I wanted to look into other options first, he said, 3 months, I want to do blood work again.
That's what I'm saying. That's why. And 3 months is a short enough period of time that doesn't feel like overwhelming. There is something overwhelming when you're thinking about health changes and lifestyle changes. You're like, for the rest of my life. Like, that sounds forever. 3 months doesn't sound like forever. And that actually is a good marker, because if what we're doing that we think will work doesn't work, I'd rather know that 3 months in.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's, I don't know if we've helped in any way. If nothing else, just, I like to give people hope.
Yeah.
I love to give, because I am, underneath all my crustiness, I'm an eternal optimist.
True.
And so if all we did was give you a little hope, great. But if we gave you more than that, even better, because I would. It's hard to do these episodes.
And again, that's something that's going to be different for everybody. What for those anybody who's kind of been feeling the pandemic slump, whatever pops you out of it, it's going to be different for all of you. For me, it was a doctor's visit.
For me, it was just the first shot. I didn't change anything other than I started making phone calls again.
I think for me, I had kind of a optimistic view of the vaccine, but
an overly optimistic view.
Overly, because everybody in the house is not vaccinated.
No, and we are paying attention to the articles coming out that they're talking about 12 to 15-year-olds, which helps the oldest.
Yeah.
Does not help the youngest, who does not turn 12 until September. So it's like, okay, can we do some trials on 11-year-olds? That would be great.
Yeah.
Look, we have been drooling over the Marvel movie lineup through 2023.
Oh, yeah.
And we intend for everybody to be vaccinated, and then we're going our asses to the movie theater, okay?
Yep.
So I need to get these kids vaccinated. But yes,
indeed.
This is the current stressor. There's stuff coming up for us that I don't think I hope will not be as all-consuming as a plague was. But could be. I mean, we know what we're going through that we're not saying too terribly much about, mostly because we feel weird about that. But so we know, but I feel like talking about this and recognizing it and pointing it out and dissecting it and discussing it and getting really introspective about it might make it easier the next time we go through a stressful cycle. We can't stop the stress, and you can't make yourself just feel away when you're in the middle of something like that, but it might make it easier to talk about. And it might give us hope that, okay, we just have to kind of get through this moment, and there will be another side, and we'll be able to remind ourselves of that because we've had this moment. So what I would say for anybody in the midst of their own stressors right now, and maybe you're not ready to come out of it, or maybe you are starting to come out of it in your own way, celebrate it. Talk about it, point it out. My recommendation would be, don't just shrug it off and act like it's not there and everything's back to normal. It's like, really focus on it for a little bit, because that might help seal the memory of it for you when you go back through this again. Like, yes, COVID is a massive thing. We're global. Like, everybody's impacted in some way. And that's different than your day-to-day personal life stressors. But the way we tend to react under stress tends to be pretty, similar from situation to situation. So if we can take any lessons from this, let that be how you're coming out of it, and when you start coming out of it, let that be part of what you learn for the future when you have to go through this again. Mostly because I'm not good with having an episode where there's not a lesson for somebody else. I feel very navel-gazy with this one, but here we are. So, all of that, we've talked for fucking ever. We will do a bonus section because, of course we will. I will probably bitch about some other things. We will get off of this
As
for a while.
As one
does. So, yeah, that's it for us this week, and now we can do the bonus section.
Are we good?
I don't know.
Keep it kinky, y'all.
And we'll see you next week. Daddy.
Yes, baby girl.
Daddy.
Yes, baby girl.
Can I talk to the crickets, please?
No. Because I have something to say first.
Okay.
I was back in the chat earlier. Someone asked if Lola was going on the walks with us. And Kayla, sitting next to me, asked me the same question. And the answer is a resounding no. Lola is not going on the walks with us. I love Lola to death. Lola is...
she's your heart.
She is my heart next to this one. And walking with Lola, one, she has a bad leg.
Yeah.
From where she was shot.
And then had surgery to correct
it.
And
had surgery to correct it. So, no, she, plus Lola's idea of a walk is she'll walk 10 feet and she'll stop to sniff. She'll walk another 10 feet and she'll stare down the squirrel in the yard.
And then she'll chase the squirrel.
Yeah. Or then, she'll walk 10 feet and find a clump of bushes where she'll stare and look for lizards.
Oh, she loves to look for lizards.
Yeah. So, no.
Or she'll have a salad and eat the weed.
Or she'll, yeah. So Lola is not a steady walker. God bless her. I do manage to keep her. If it's just me, sometimes when I take her out, I manage to kind of keep her. But no, for the type of walking we're doing, to kind of get some cardio, get the exercise. No, Lola is not.
She still gets her own walks.
Oh, she still gets her own walks. Yeah.
Which we've got to probably rethink that because our current time for walking her is high fucking noon.
Yeah.
And it's hot. And we're not even in the depths of Florida summer yet, and it's hot. So, and it's hot. We've actually made shorter walks with her because it's hard for her too.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like halfway through the walk and she's panting, like she slows way down. So we've got to just reconfigure our schedule. I wish I could take her out on my own because I have freedom of schedule. I could do a 7:30 a.m. walk and no big deal. But when she pulls on me, I don't currently have the strength or the ability to pull back in the way I sometimes need to. And I know that means she just probably needs some more leash training.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. We're just making it day by day. So, yeah, she, I did, because I have this vision of her being the type of dog that would just walk next to us or behind us and just keep up, and she is not that dog.
No, she is not.
She's not that dog.
She is not. And they even told us that at the rescue that we adopted her from.
Sure.
She said, she does walk, but she gets easily distracted.
And she's more of a couch dog.
Yeah.
Than anything. And I like that because I too would be a couch dog
with it getting warm now, decided this week not to open the drapes or the curtains in the office.
Yeah,
because
this is
now
the hottest room in the house during the summer.
The sun at a certain point in the morning comes in through the window, so decided not to do it. Well, Lola was upset by that. Because there was this one window where when the curtain was open threw a nice patch of sun on the carpet, and she liked to lay there. So I actually did go ahead and open it for a while for her to lay there in the sun.
Yeah. Hey, V, if we have seen a couple things come through, and I did respond to you on Twitter. If you would email us, that would be easier.
Please email. It'd be much, much easier, V. Thank you.
Oh, and for podcast listeners, there was a question in the live, live chat.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, what else?
I'll be right back.
I almost said Karen has her Onyx meow. No. Onyx has her Karen meow back fully.
Yes.
She was annoyed by something in the bedroom today, and you could just hear it across the house. She wants to speak to our manager, but sucks for her. We are the managers. Ella's still kind of a bitch, but we love her. Thank God she's pretty, because she is kind of a bitch. But she also lets you cuddle her. So, Onyx lets us pet her, JB and myself, nobody else, and aggressively lets us pet her, but she won't let us pick her up and cuddle her. But Ella doesn't really want to be petted, but she is fine with being picked up and cuddled, and sometimes being carried around. And so I'll go to Onyx and pet her and get my loving in there, and desperately want to cuddle her, but she is not having it. And then I'll go get my fix with Ella when she's not being awful, and pick her up and walk her around and snuggle her, and then, spend hours spitting out cat hair from my nose and my mouth. But, so, yeah. And if anybody is like, did JB get distracted a couple times in this episode? Yes, because he was staring lovingly over at Lola, who is living her best life on the love scene. She takes up the entire length of it, and she keeps rolling over onto her back and splaying out all her limbs. There she goes. Mm-hmm. And her head's back, and she opens her mouth all wide, and she's all just comfy and relaxed. And JB can't help but look at her with all the love in his heart when she does that. I also need to tell on you.
Uh-oh.
What you're doing is actually a good thing, but it's also hilarious to me. So, JB has gone all in on being a pity daddy. It's fine with Lola the pity. Or if we ever get another dog, probably be a pity. I'm fine with all of that. And the rescue we got her from, we certainly want to help support.
Yes.
So we have purchased T-shirts that they did for a fundraiser. We keep wearing them on the same day when we leave the house, and so we keep being that couple that dresses alike. We do it on other days without it being the same shirt, and it's just mortifying now. There's a thing you can do through Amazon called Smile.Amazon, where you can designate a portion of your purchases to go to a charity or a charitable organization, a nonprofit of your choice. It used to be attached to the kids' school. Now it is attached to the Smile Amazon.
Well, they're old school from the community.
Old school, right.
Before we moved.
Because that was a teeny tiny little charter school.
Yeah.
And I was happy to help, because I was not going to go sell popcorn or cookies or whatever. So now it is attached to the rescue, the pit bull rescue, so they get a portion of our purchases, and God knows we make a lot of purchases. And now we used to do this with the rescue we got Saki from. Now it's been switched over to the rescue we got Lola from. There's an app you do where
when you walk,
for every mile you walk, right? There's an amount donated to the rescue. So you are literally doing every single thing you can to help this rescue, and I think it's wonderful. I also am, I've got questions. It seems there's a little light, non-threatening, not awful obsession going on, and I said what I feel like the progression of this is going to be. You are going to do every single thing that comes your way that you can do to support this rescue, either direct purchase or these kinds of ways where it's donations and stuff. And the moment you hit a point where there's literally nothing left for you to do, you're either going to become a foster or we're going to adopt again. I see this progression happening. He is all in on this rescue, which is a wonderful thing. I'm not mocking that, but I am finding it mildly amusing that every time he's like, yeah, I'm using this thing. It benefits the rescue. Oh, yeah, I'm doing this thing. It benefits the rescue. I would like to buy this shirt. It benefits the rescue. So, yeah.
Everybody has a thing. That's become my thing.
That's your thing. And I really don't mind. I wish we could handle a little bit more chaos right now. I would be willing to take on fostering, I think.
Yeah, and
we can't right now.
So yeah, I think definitely fostering at some point in the future. Right now, no, we're just getting out of the chaos with the
Yeah.
animals, and there is still a little bit of chaos that happens on occasion. It's further and fewer between, thankfully. The cats have a grudging accord to some things. I think Lola has slowly come to realize that the cats are never going to want to play with her.
That, quite frankly, that would be my impetus to maybe foster a dog or get a second dog,
Yeah.
because I do worry that Lola's a little lonely.
Yeah, because every Lola was in the rescue for quite a while.
Several months.
And she was at several fosters in that time. And every foster she was in, there were multiple animals, multiple dogs. So,
Yeah, and then the rescue, because we follow the rescue. You follow them on Facebook. I follow them on Instagram.
I follow on Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, goodness, of course you do.
Yeah.
And they just rescued like 9 pitty puppies.
Yeah.
I think we both had grabby hands at the screen. But I'm not at a point right now I can handle a
No,
puppy.
we're not. No,
I cannot handle a
no.
puppy. We thought about it. We really thought about
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I cannot handle a puppy.
We saw it was an option, and it was a very tempting
We spent
option.
a few days thinking about it.
I started doing some research, as I do.
Thank God.
Going down the rabbit hole, looking at different things with it. And it was very tempting, but in the end, at this point in time, I think it's
It's not right
best.
for us right
It's
now.
not right for us at this point in time. Yeah.
So, yeah. So those are the fur babies. The human babies are good. They would not appreciate being referred to as babies at all.
No.
But that's okay. We're parenting is it's an adventure. Every time I think I know something, I know nothing.
Yeah,
I have to
right.
learn it all over again. Let's
Truth.
see. I get to go for a diagnostic mammogram next week.
You do.
There's several things. One, it's not uncommon to not get a good picture the first time. 2, I have had my vaccine, so that could have messed up the readings. That's a thing that can happen. 3, I could have, what did they say, fibrous? Was fibrous the word somebody used? I was like, fibrous boobs? Shouldn't they be firmer? So that's my next medical thing to potentially deal with.
Yeah.
We are doing more things with the kinkery because I apparently have more time on my hands. My biggest client cut their budget by 50%. So I was like, that's a loss of money, but that's a gain in time. We're gonna do something with it.
Yep.
So we have a rainbow of unicorn spit, which are, if you're not familiar, it's a stain that you can use on all kinds of materials.
Colored stain.
It's a colored stain that you can use on all kinds of things. We're using it on wood, and so I'm gonna be a shop elf tomorrow morning and make some pretty colored
that's
paddles.
tomorrow? I thought Friday.
I want Friday to be the resin because I have to do that with you. I can't do
okay.
resin by myself yet.
That's true.
And I'll give y'all a little sneak peek. Patrons will get to see this when we start playing with it, but I'll tell y'all now because it's the bonus section. If you're still here, you are devoted cricket. Okay? So we're gonna be doing things with resin.
Would you like me to grab?
No, I can stay there. It's
okay.
fine.
I thought you said. Okay.
Patrons will get to see pictures.
Gotcha.
There's gotta be perks to being a patron, okay? But I'm gonna tell y'all now because you're clearly devoted. So we've been talking about how we're gonna play with resin, and we've got like potential paddle ideas, and we have slapstick ideas, and we have like hitty thing ideas. But I was like, I like small little things too, and I found a resin mold set pre-made of keychain sets, and they're selling them very vanilla. Like, these are perfect for Valentine's Day. These are perfect for best friends. It's locks and keys. It's puzzle pieces and hearts, and I was like, we can kinkify a thing that's you don't have to do anything special to kinkify it.
Right.
And so we're gonna play with resin, and we're gonna make little keychain sets for couples who are like, here's the key and here's the lock, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited.
Yep.
I'm so excited. So yes, if you happen to be a member of our Patreon, you'll get to see the pictures first once we start playing. That's what I want to do Friday.
Okay.
Is make some of those. But yeah, I'm telling you, we've got that coming. I'm so excited. So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm gonna have like my business get impacted in some way, I'm gonna pick that shit up and do something else because I work through stress, as I said before. And we're going to make some fun shit. And it's going to be colorful. And also, on my to-do list this week is to print planner stickers for the Kinkery that I've been promising for a month. And those are coming, too.
There you go. There you go.
So.
I need to.
Yes, please turn the fan on. And that background hum is now us not melting anymore.
Yep.
So.
We probably need to.
We do have to stop
Yeah.
talking eventually.
I'm going to have to start chasing kids here shortly.
I should probably get a bite to eat.
Yeah.
That would probably be a good thing.
Yeah.
So, thank y'all for being here. I really hope today's episode, even in a like Aesop's fable kind of way, helped in some way. Yeah. So we've got. There's always stuff going on for everybody. That's just the nature of life. We're coming out of one major stressor, walking into another one. But we're doing, what I like is that we're doing it together. That makes me feel more normal.
Yeah.
That makes me feel like the before times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is a part of the before times I desperately would have wanted back. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We're going to go now because we've talked for an hour and a fucking half.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for listening.
We'll be back soon.
Yeah.
I think for YouTube folks, we are, slowly getting back to our upload schedule, which is a short video on Mondays and the longer stream on Wednesdays. And for podcast listeners, you get the short episode on Tuesdays and this long episode on Fridays. And so, ta-da. Yeah, we figured shorter episodes are good because, like, it's an investment to come hang out with us for an hour and a half. We recognize new people might not want to do that.
Yeah.
A 10-minute teaser, if you know within 10 minutes if we're your people or not. So, yeah, we're able to do more of that, and we're excited and happy to be doing more of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm still thinking about contemplating a separate channel just for the Kinkery. Just saying. We're thinking about it.
Yep.
With all that said, we're going to go. We
Yep.
love you guys. Thank you for being here.
Bye.
Bye.